Regional School, we would like to thank all of the people who came today for the expo, and special thank you to Mr. Spencer, Ms. Doyle, Anna, and Natalie for all their hard work. We look forward to the future Pathway Expos, whatever that word is, panel.
Okay, here we go. Let's get going right away. So we've got 3 panelists. All are grads from Salisbury Regional. I'm going to welcome them one at a time to the stage. I'm going to ask some questions. There might be moments that you want to ask some questions. We're going to hear from them about their pathways, and there might be some information that you can take away here. So, welcoming first, okay? I'd like to welcome first to the stage Alan Harper. I'm going to read a little bit about Alan. Just hold your applause, please. Alan is a parts advisor and trainer for Peterbilt Atlantic. You might have seen him in the gym. He started here in 2011 and has been working in the automotive field since 1987. Graduated in 1990 from JMA, okay? And we'd like to welcome Alan to the stage, please. Okay, next up. Our next panelist is Austin Henderson. So here's a few things about Austin, okay? Austin's a graduate of Salisbury Regional. Later completed his degree at the University of New Brunswick, a UMB grad, with additional schooling from the University of Victoria, way out in British Columbia, in public relations, and now a master's in public administration from Dalhousie University. Since 2022, he has served as the first Chief Administrative Officer for the town of Salisbury. Round of applause for Austin, please. Our next one, she requested the center, okay? So I'd like to welcome next Finley Short to the stage, please. Hold your applause, please. Finley Short is a 2025 honors graduate of Salisbury Regional High School, where she served as student body president and was twice named Athlete of the Year. She's currently pursuing a Bachelor of Arts in Community Engaged Learning at Mount Allison University. I heard a reference to Mount A earlier, where she is a member of the varsity women's basketball team. Finley has earned Dean's List honors and was recognized as a 2026 ACAA National Scholar, so a great student athlete. She hopes to become an elementary teacher in the future. So welcome, Finley. Okay, so basically we've all got mics. I'm gonna ask questions, we'll kind of respond as we can. Okay, I'll pause at different moments if you have a question from the audience, and I'll jump down and we'll ask those questions. Okay, so I'm going to run through a few questions, okay? Yeah, maybe we'll hold our mic, okay? Okay. Before we get started, as always, all of these things in this space, they happen because our SALT team steps in, and puts on all of these displays. So, quick round of applause for our SALT team in the back. Okay, here we go. Here's the first question. When you were sitting in those seats, okay, what did you think your future would look like? Maybe Alan, we'll go with you, back in 1990?
Back in 1990, I was sitting in those seats, and I didn't think I was going to be doing what I'm doing now. I actually thought I was going to work for a race team out in California somewhere. So, but life changes. I was with my high school sweetheart. We ended up having 5 kids together, and that's how it ended up sticking with it.
Very good. Okay. Austin, how about you? Rewind, you're sitting in these seats. What did the future look like for you?
I think if you looked at my yearbook quote, I think they probably still ask you what you wanted to do in 10 years. I wanted to be a teacher out of Canada. Some would have heard me say this earlier in the session that I was in, but I don't like kids, so that wasn't a good career. I didn't know that at the time. I should say don't like kids, but I don't have the patience to
Patience.
Yeah, especially sitting in class all day. I can't do it. So that's what I wanted to do. I was dead set on that, and then when I was at university, that path changed a couple times, but that's what it was when I was sitting in those seats.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Austin. Thank you so much. Okay. It's funny funny how our path can change even once we get to post-secondary. So that's an interesting takeaway there. Finley, tell us, you were just a year ago sitting in those seats. What do you think your future would look like?
Well, since it wasn't that long ago, I thought it would look exactly like what it is right now. I've always known I wanted to be a teacher, and I set out to pursue that career path at Mount A, but I didn't know where exactly I wanted to go until quite late, because there's lots of universities that offer education, but I found one that fits what I want in my life.
Finley, can I keep with you for a sec here? Something you wish you'd taken a little more seriously in high school?
I took a lot of things seriously in high school because I've always known what I wanted to do, but I will say one thing I did learn, because taking everything so seriously puts a lot of pressure on yourself. Like when you take your sport seriously, you feel like you have to excel, same with school. But I learned my first year that like it doesn't matter, like your career path might change, what you want to do might change, so don't worry so much about that stuff, but it is definitely important to be taking these things in high school seriously, take every opportunity you can so that you get to try different things before you're thrown out into the real world.
Good response, thank you, Finley. Alan, something you would have taken more serious in high school?
Honestly, and I can relate to a lot of the kids that came to my booth today, This is my eighth Pathways or university one, and a lot of guys that don't know what they're looking for. I was the same way as far as post-secondary. I wasn't planning on going to university or community college, and I've been working for 3 years up to grade 12, so I wish I had probably paid a little more attention in the more academic classes, which was English and math. I guess everybody says you don't use that in the real world, but actually you do. So
Hold on, sorry, Alan, can you say that one more time?
yeah.
You actually use those classes in the real
Even
world?
working around truck parts all day with a bunch of truckers, we still use that stuff, whether it's math or. But I'm very fortunate. I've had a great career path with some of the opportunities I've had. I was a supply teacher here for a couple of years. Enjoyed that. So yeah, I've had all kinds of opportunities. But yeah, if it was anything for me, and I tell this to the kids at any of the pathways, the very last question is pay attention in school, and it's going to help you, trust me.
Awesome, thank you, Alan. Austin, anything for you you wish you'd taken a little more serious in high school?
I think I told Finley I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to steal her answer for this.
Okay.
I think I was the same. I don't really have anything to add to Finley's. I think hers was good for this one. I think I was just in the same boat. So I also took those things seriously. I'd encourage you to do the same, but I don't know if there's anything really to add to that one.
Yeah, certainly
I'll
this.
echo that.
100%. We feel the pressure. I know students feel the pressure this time of year. I got to know what I'm doing. This is just about exposure, and sometimes things change, and that's okay. Okay, so Finley, keep with you for a sec. You're post-secondary, you're in university right now. What skills do you feel like are most important for you right now as a university student?
Being a student athlete as well, I think the most important thing is time management. You really got to learn how to balance school, and high school is very different than post-secondary, or so I've found. There is a lot more, you're just go, go, go. So I would say time management, learning how to balance school and whatever else you like to do, but also keeping time for yourself and self-care and making sure that you're doing good mentally.
Nice. Austin, I'm going to change questions a little bit. What does networking mean to you, and how is that something that you use on a daily basis? Maybe just explain networking first if you can, and then...
I would say most of my days is spent networking, more than likely in my job. So what that means, I guess, if I simplify it, or you can correct my definition, but is working with, whether that's other people, whether it's students like you, whether it's groups, community partners, what have you. So in my role at the town, I have to do that a lot. So with businesses, with organizations, with other municipalities, other towns, other levels of government. That's kind of how I would define networking. But like I said, it's probably the biggest part of my role, and something that's super important. And I think you'll learn that in there's no, maybe there is, but I don't think there's a course that tells you this is how you network. Like that's not something that you're going to learn sitting in a classroom. You kind of learn it by getting to know people, doing different things, trying new things, seeing other people do it. So It's definitely an important part of my role now, and I would say all of the roles that I've had, it's been a key part of that for sure.
Right, yeah, connecting with people, keeping those relationships going. At Peterbilt, Alan, how important is networking and relationships?
Well, I'll give you an example. Just this morning, I had a customer that, and what I do every day is sell parts, make sure the customer is happy with his part or he's got his stuff. And this morning, I had a customer that wasn't, and of course, messaging me, and I couldn't get back to him. And through networking, through calling a couple of my buddies or one of my guys at the counter and doing all this stuff, I was able to get him looked after an hour later, and he was happy. But it's so important. I mean, I met some kids here that I know their uncles or their fathers or their grandfathers through all that, and that industry is so huge. I mean, it's an important industry, and it's when I got the guy fixed up, it was very rewarding. So it makes a big difference.
Nice, thanks Alan, thank you. I'm gonna pause for a sec. Any questions out here? I'm gonna just midway pause. Anybody wanna ask a question? I got a few more. Okay, I'll keep going. Okay. Finley, post-secondary, something you love about post-secondary?
I would say the connections you built. Like, we come from a small town and there's only so many people that you can meet, but going to a university or post-secondary, you really get the opportunity to meet a lot of people, and I've met so many people that are just like me. Like, there's so many people out there in the world, so I think that's what I love most about it. Like, I just get to meet new people, so hear about different people's lives, the pathway they've been on to get where they are today, and I think that's really important.
Nice, 100%, yeah. Austin, for you?
What was the question?
What do you love most about your work?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
okay. I think that's a good question. I think probably that every day is different, I would say. When I started there 4 years ago in July, in the summer, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I'm born and raised here myself, so that's kind of what drew me working at the town. And that was the main piece at the time. So I think now getting to work where I was born and raised, and we like to say, see the fruits of our labor, so kind of see some of the impact of the things that we're doing is super rewarding and super valuable. But ultimately, it's not something I thought I would be doing for 4 years, for sure. Like, I said that in my interview process, that I wasn't going to be here long term. So that's a surprise for me that I'm still sticking around, but I think the kind of seeing the fruits of the labor of our everyday work at the town where I was born and raised is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Nice. Alan, how about you? Something you love about your work?
Well, I'll tell you, the very first one of these I did, Anakin, back in, I think it's 3 years ago. And I met a student named Pradeep Duga.
Okay.
Pradeep started with us this week. So he went through the whole program, exactly how I described it. When you guys came to my booth, and he got his block one, and he passed his block one and started at Peterbilt. And he was in the shop Monday, and I'd never seen a kid so happy. It was awesome to see him. And so I kind of been following him the whole way through, and it really was very rewarding for me. So this part of my career now that I like being able to be in between school and the job is a lot of fun right now. Yeah.
Hello? Oh, I'm back. Okay. Thank you. I had a good flow going. I was about to ask another question. Oh, this one's for the adults in the room. I'm curious, before I ask the panel, have any of you, kind of through your adulthood, thought about or have changed careers? So changing careers. Okay, so you've changed a career. Okay, I'm really curious about this question because we talk about Future Pathway Expo. It's pathways. There are different pathways, and I heard Austin mention earlier he wasn't quite sure where the direction he was going. So maybe not so much for Finley, but for Alan and Austin, how have your pathways changed over time? Your career pathways.
I think, yeah, like I haven't been in the work world forever. So I've done a lot of different things, and I think part of that is being willing to accept that you can change paths. And I think when I was in high school and university, I was dead set on what I wanted to do because I had that in my mind, and I basically had tunnel vision on that. And I think when I went to school and realized that maybe it's not for me, or maybe there's other things out there, being willing to try something and to it might not necessarily fit in what you envisioned or what your plan was, but being willing to try it is super important. Even when I was in school, once I got to university, I was also dead set again on going to law school. So if anyone's familiar with that process, you have to study for an admission test that isn't the easiest thing to study for. It's hard. It's nothing that you can necessarily memorize. So you have to train your brain to basically think through different modules to write a test, a standardized test in a room full of people, and you're basically marked relative to all of those people that are writing the test and everybody else that's writing it all across the country that same day. And you need that test to even get in. So I went through the process of studying and getting ready to go that route. And my program at UMB was a 4-year program that was done in 3 years. So by the time it came to make a decision, I felt like I wasn't ready to go to law school. I wasn't 100% sure if that's what I wanted to do. And so ultimately the kind of stars aligned, and I was willing to say yes and try something, and ended up working full time while I was finishing my undergrad in federal politics, and then ended up in the municipal world and haven't looked back. So if I didn't even know that it was like a job, a thing, to work at Town Hall across the street when I was in Racine. I had no idea what happened over there. So it's a total kind of 180 from what I expected.
Awesome, thank you. Alan, how about you?
So like I explained to a lot of the kids this morning, is that just because it says Peterbilt out front doesn't mean you're going to be a mechanic. It doesn't mean you're going to sell trucks or sell parts. Administration, there's all kinds of different backgrounds. When I started in 1987 at Canadian Tire as a 16-year-old, I didn't really see that as my career, selling parts. But was it interesting, and did I learn stuff from that? Oh, absolutely. And then I went into the trucking world, selling parts and doing stuff, and then I actually had my own shop for 7 years. So everything, there was always development, there was always different things that I could do. Even though I didn't have a community college education or anything like that, I mean, I was just a kid out of high school. That shows that I like money. So if you like money, you're gonna wanna do something. And I chose jobs that were, they weren't the best paying, but I mean, I worked hard, and I got to a point now where I basically have a pick of the litter as far as jobs I want and anything like that, and it just comes with hard work. And like I say, that's what I tell my kids, and I'm very fortunate to have kids that are the same way. So
Nice, awesome, thank you, Alan. Fun fact, I thought I was going to be an RCMP officer when I left high school, and then I didn't. Some of you can't believe that. A little too intense for me though, and did a bit of a shift as well. Okay, how about this one? Okay, co-op, part-time jobs, volunteering, extracurricular. Finley, I'm going to start with you. Co-op in particular. I know some of our grade 12s this afternoon are going out to co-op. How important is something like co-op, something like volunteering, extracurricular? How important are those things?
I'd say they're pretty important. I did my co-op education at elementary school, and I was originally just going to go down to Salisbury and do it there because that's where I grew up. But Mr. Spencer, shout out to him, he convinced me to step out of my comfort zone and go somewhere else. So I went to Riverview, and I loved it. Like, it was a great experience. So one thing I'd recommend with co-op is to try different things. Like, if you know you want to be a teacher, maybe try something that's not a teacher just to see if you like it, or step out of your comfort zone and try a different school that's out of what you already know. Like, you definitely need to be trying different things and using that opportunity to experience multiple different things, because once you're out there, it's a little bit more difficult to just like make quick changes. That's what's really important about using these resources that you get in high school to try all the different career paths that are out there.
Nice. How about extracurriculars, Finley? Important? Question mark?
Well, I played multiple different sports, and although those were great experiences, I definitely think that you learn a lot of skills that you can use in your careers through them. Like, I learned leadership, how to communicate with others, how to be part of a team, which I do in every single one of the jobs that I've had so far. So I think it's really important to get yourself out there, maybe join student council, like just learn how to work with others, learn how to time manage, balancing a bunch of different things, definitely important.
100%. Alan, for you, volunteering, what do you think?
volunteering is, and with the co-op and everything else, we look forward to that time of year. We have 2 in the shop right now, but we also look at the co-op students as, is this what we're going to get next? And kids doing co-op, if you do co-op, you're going to know this, is that your employer actually really pays attention.
Yep.
And me being a little bit of a in between from schools to the work side of it, I get asked a lot of what I think, and I tell kids this at Pathways about punctuality. A lot of kids learned out what that word meant today. A lot of them didn't know what punctuality meant. Yeah, be on time. Cell phones off. It's very similar to school when it comes to stuff that we do, especially mechanics that work on $60,000-$70,000 engines. You don't want them being on their cell phone and trying to build an engine at the same time or anything like that. So it's very important to take what you learn, and then when you go to co-op, make sure that you apply those things at your job site. It means a lot.
Okay, I'm back on. Austin, for you, volunteering, a part-time job, how important are those things?
I think super important, and I can't stress them enough, quite frankly. I think when I was in high school, I always tried to be involved in things, and depends on what your interests are. And there's always things to get involved. I think Finley gave a shout out to Mr. Spencer, and I'll do the same thing if he's still in here. There he is. When I was in high school, he introduced me to a program called Forum for Young Canadians. So it's a program in Ottawa that gave me what I call the political bug. I knew I was interested in politics, but not to what degree. That's something that's not like, it's something to immerse you in something new. It's not necessarily an extracurricular activity, but I think it's something outside of the classroom, which is super, super important. And I can't, like I said, can't stress those enough. So whether it's like a formal extracurricular activity, something like that gets you immersed in something, I would encourage it to no end. When I was at school at UMB, my program forces us to do both extracurriculars and the equivalent of co-op, so internships. And I had to do my first summer in Ottawa, and I spent my second summer in India. So different purposes for both of them, but my Canadian internship is ultimately where I ended up working full time. That kind of immersed me in, at that time, the federal side, but that's where I ended up getting the interest to work in the municipal world, and then, like I said, I've been there since. So it's those things that have kind of taught me and allowed me, like Finley said, to try something and see if it's something that works or doesn't work. But that arguably teaches you just as much as if it does work. So I can't stress it enough. Outside of class, getting involved in things, whether it's something formal, student council, sports, what have you, or trying something new. There's lots of programs out there based on what your interests are.
Nice, yeah, awesome. Okay, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, a couple more questions here. Okay, we all make mistakes. Mistakes happen, learning opportunities. I'm wondering about a mistake that you may have made that helped you grow. This was from the optional section. I don't know if you guys read the optional section. I'm going into the optional, okay? So a mistake that you made that inevitably has helped you grow.
You want to go?
I'll go.
Yeah, you go.
Okay, so 2003. I thought that I was going to want to start my own business, and my uncle had an established truck repair and sale parts center business. And I left a really cushy, awesome job to go do that. And it was scary, and I had young kids, and I just had a new home, and had a bunch of stuff going on. And I didn't get enough education before I went and did that. I thought it was going to be easy. It was not. It was the hardest thing I ever did. It cost me a lot. It cost me relationships. It cost me a lot of money. But man, did I learn some stuff about people, about me, about just how businesses are run, how your friends are sometimes not your friends. And I'll tell you, it was a real eye-opener that I still look to today. I actually help a lot of people that are in the same industry that they'll call me and they'll just start going on about my business is this and this sucks. And I said, I can totally relate to you because I've been there. But this is what I did to solve those problems. What I did, I was very fortunate. Peterbilt came to me and bought me and that was a real life changer for me. I was in a really, really bad place, mentally, emotionally, and it really made a huge difference. And I never forgot about that and what they did for me just in But yeah, if you're gonna do something, and especially something major, like take over a business or anything like that, make sure that you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed and all the education you can get.
Thank you. Finley?
I'm perfect. I don't make mistakes.
Okay.
This, I can't necessarily say it's a mistake, but it definitely helped me grow. Like playing on the varsity basketball team, I played this season, but I am no longer going to continue playing. And it was a very difficult year for me. And with all the practices, it's like your whole life. And I realized that it wasn't for me, which is totally fine, but it helped me grow in ways that I would not have gotten if I hadn't done that experience. Like I learned to meet new people, I learned how to time manage better, I learned that I could do hard things, I learned that like I could get through it, and I don't know, like it wasn't necessarily a mistake because I don't regret it at all, but it was definitely something that helped me grow that was challenging.
Perfect. Great response. Austin?
I think I'll echo what both of them said in terms of learning from mistakes, I think. So I think mistakes are a little bit subjective, I think. It depends on how you take them. I can give you, I don't want to say millions, but I can give you lots of mistakes or things that could be considered mistakes, but I think ultimately it's how you deal with them. First of all, a lot of times you have to take ownership and recognize that it is a mistake because sometimes those things happen. Some mistakes are bigger than others. Like Alan's example is a good one of one that can have a lot of implications, but I think like you heard him mention, like you can learn from that, and I think that's super, super important. I can't guarantee a lot, but I can guarantee one thing. I would say that everybody in this room is not going to make mistakes. That's just not humanly possible. So I think I would say that instead of like listing specific ones is that learn from them and take those as opportunities to either course correct or fix the mistake or do something differently next time, whatever the case may be. But I think it's human nature to make mistakes, and you're all gonna do it, like we all have, and guarantee you that the mistakes that we're all thinking of and that we're sharing are not the last ones we're gonna make either.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, before I get to the last question, I was wondering if anyone from the audience had a question. Okay, all right, here we go. Okay, final question. Maybe we'll go Alan, Austin, and then Finley. A piece of advice, okay, you could give to our current students about their future. What sort of advice would you give to them?
So echoing what Finley and Austin both said is that it never hurts to try different things. It's always going to make, you're not perfect. You're not perfect, and you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to do a lot of soul searching. But what you're going to do is you're going to learn from those, and you're going to take those with you. When you take them with you, you'll be able to apply them to the next thing that you're going to do. We've heard that from both of them, from me. I'm very proud of the fact that hopefully I won't have a whole lot of time left to work, maybe 10 years, but I've made it this far, and I've been able to do that with basically hard work and paying attention and all that other stuff. But yeah, it's like I told the kids when they filled out their passports, which hopefully you all did. And if you didn't, when you came to my booth, you got one because you couldn't get one this morning. So when you fill those out, and I tell them what I see in kids and what I like to see is that hard working and good people skills is going to make a big difference.
I think I have two. One kind of echoes Alan's, but be willing to say yes. So try something new. I can't stress that enough. It goes back to some of these pieces we've all shared of like changing paths or being willing to accept something new is huge. And the other piece of advice is that I would share is be proud of where you come from. So we're from a small town, and I think when I was your age, I was dead set on getting out of the small town and leaving not only the small town, but the province, the country. That's what I was dead set on. For what reason, I'm not really sure. I don't know. Just because that was part of that kind of tunnel vision. But I think we're really lucky to live where we live and to go to the school that you get to go to school at. And I can tell you that as a matter of fact. And we have to be proud of that. So I think being, whether you're born and raised here, moved here, go to school here now, if you're an international student, doesn't matter. Be proud of the fact that you're going to school here, that you're from Salisbury, live in Salisbury, whatever the case may be, and take that with you. You might not come as close to right across the street, but at some point your paths will cross again. So those are the two pieces that I would share.
I would say my biggest piece of advice is don't compare yourself to others. Like, you're going into your young adulthood and you're going to do a lot of comparing. Like, this person's going to university, but I'm only doing trades. Like, there's a lot of stigmas that involve the different pathways you can take. Don't worry about it. It's your life. Everyone's life is so different. You could end up in the same career path, but have a totally different way of getting there. So you need to do what's best for you, choose you, do what you love, and don't worry about comparing yourself to what the person next to you is doing. Everyone's different.
Yes, big round of applause for our panelists. Awesome job. Two things to wrap up. Two things to wrap up. First, okay, again, Austin, Finley, Alan, for coming, for spending this time, for all the booths out there, the experiences that you had. This is one of the premier events, I gotta be honest with you, across our entire district, okay? We're doing great things here, and I just think it's important that you recognize and appreciate the effort that goes into this event, okay? This is top notch. I feel like Miss Constantine when I say top notch, but this is certainly top notch, okay? So a big round of applause just for the whole event.